I just heard one.
Okay.
Just call me?
Yeah.
I didn't hear from
Sir,
you.
you wanna make your
didn't hear anything. because
No, I know, I saw that.
Put the notice out.
Yeah, I saw it, I was like, I'm sorry.
No,
We're good, we're good. Thank you, Chris.
May I have your attention, please, at this time, please turn off your cell phones. Thank you very much. Short and brief.
Call the meeting to order. Where's my mic? Can you hear me? Yes?
Yes.
Thank you.
Come on.
Louder?
Yes.
Thank you. This is a city council regular meeting for June the 9th, 2016, and it is 7:03. Please stand for the Lord's Prayer. Our Father who art in heaven,
Hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil.
for
Thine
thine
is the kingdom, power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen.
I'd like to establish quorum. We have Councilman Tejada, Councilman Ortiz, Councilman Nieto, Councilman Jimenez, and Councilwoman Cantu. We have a quorum. Please, let's recite the U.S. Pledge of Allegiance and the Texas Pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
honor
The Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. At this time, we'll entertain citizen comments. Do we have any citizen comments? Please identify yourself.
Tomas Robles, good evening.
Good evening.
I have a concern here, that we had a workshop Monday, and 2 weeks ago, we talked about a grant writer. And my understanding that we don't have the points for a grant writer to write for a grant. And if we don't, why are we gonna still go on with a grant writer when we don't have the points? Because we talked about, that we needed like so many points from the city to be able to pursue forward with the grant. And this year, I looked at, because the 100 acres gotta go to the county, and then from the county, that got back to the city, and the city, they're still playing with that. And my question is, why do we need to, pursue a grant writer when I don't think that money's gonna be, available to the city? And I'm just hoping that y'all can look at that, and if we don't have to spend $2,000, why spend it? Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? All right. Then we'll go on to address old business and to approve the minutes for 4 different meetings. If no one has an issue with any of them, we can do these by consent, so that we can approve them all at one time. Any issues with any of them, because we need to separate that one? If not, please give me a motion to approve the minutes by consent.
So move, Madam Mayor, to approve the minutes by consent.
May I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve item A, B, C, and D by consent. All those in favor, raise your right hand. It's just us, I'm sorry. No, not. Thank you. All those opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. Madam Secretary, did you get that? It was just 3 of us who
Yes.
needed to approve those.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. We'll go on to presentation and discussion. The first item is by Ms. Sonia Peña on Lifeline. Is she here? Yes, please step up.
Hi.
Welcome.
Hi, my name is Sonia Peña, and I'm a representative with Budget Lifeline. And what this program does is that we provide Obama phones for recipients that are that qualify for them. And one of the programs, one of the things needed to qualify for this program is you either have to be on either like Lone Star, Medicaid, Senior Citizens Native, Molina, CareLink, SSI, disability, or even anybody that falls under the low income criteria. They can qualify to get a free lifeline for a whole year, and that is 500 talk and 500 text for the first 3 months, and thereafter it is $350. And there is different plans under the budget mobile plan, to buy more minutes a week, to have more on the lifeline. This can either be a cell phone or a lifeline in their home, so we can provide landlines for the elderly, anybody that needs this, people that have children that are handicapped, providers that need to take care of loved ones. We're here for that, and all they need to do is just qualify with one of the criteria that I mentioned. And I'm hoping to serve y'all and also the surrounding counties.
Council, any questions?
How does the public find out about the program?
I spoke to the city, I'm sorry, I didn't look it up, but the city.
She had a meeting with Ms. Turner last week,
About
a couple
3
weeks
weeks
ago.
ago.
3 weeks ago, and Ms. Turner was gonna allow her, she's got the big, the banners like you see in this picture, and then I think we were gonna put them out front, because she was gonna allow her to use City Hall during the day for people to come in, and we'll have a banner like in the foyer, so as people come in, they'll be able to see, and I think she was gonna try and do something in the newspaper.
Correct.
And things like that, to let them know that she would be in here for whatever hours, during the day that she chooses, and she'll have.
Tony, do we still have the community council out there?
Excuse me?
Do we still have the community council at your building?
Yes, sir.
You might want to talk to this gentleman right here. His name is Tony Rivera. He's in charge of the event center, and we have the community council housing out there.
Yeah, I know that she had mentioned something like that, and for us to come in like on days that y'all didn't have court either here or somewhere else, and then that way she would put it out in the paper. That way the people from the county or the surrounding counties can come in and get their lifelines. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, the next item is the purchase of 2016 Chevy code compliance vehicle. And I had some research done on this, and because I was getting questions about the purchase of this vehicle. So, Mr. Hub, do you mind coming up and telling us what you know about it, the purchase?
Madam Mayor and City Council, thank you. Make sure this is, can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, thank you. So this is regarding the purchase of the new code compliance vehicle. And apparently the total cost for that came out to be $45,154. The funds for this, I believe, were brought out of the 8-liner fee ordinance that was passed, where we collected the permit fees before the issues that happened with all those. And so those funds had to be allocated towards using in code compliance. That's part of the law. I know we have 2 new council members, but the other 3 council members will remember. We went through many discussions about what we could charge for the permit fees and what those fees could be used for. They can only be used for enforcement of code compliance. So salary, supplies, vehicles were discussed, but there was never any explicit approval to purchase a vehicle for a cost. Part of the issue that's gone on with this is that the city council authorized the city manager to make purchases up to $25,000 per council directive. Anything over that is supposed to come to council for approval. This was not presented to council before a contract was signed, payment was owed, and payment had to be made for it. So that's the issue before the council right now, is the car has been purchased, the contract was signed, we're legally obligated to take possession, and that has happened. Currently, right now, I believe it's getting the word on the street is it's getting the decals and everything put on. So that's why you may not see it outside. But that's the general situation on there. If anybody has any legal questions for me, I'm happy to field them. As far as procedural questions and things like that, unfortunately, I don't have all the answers, and Ms. Turner, I believe, is at a conference this week.
How are you looking to talk about this?
Yes, it's a discussion item, it's open discussion, yes, sir.
Okay. So Chief, so no one was actually authorized to purchase that vehicle?
That specific vehicle, no.
And it is over 25,000?
Yes, the total cost came out to be $45,154 on the invoice.
Okay, so, and that was never presented to council
Correct.
or to anyone else?
It's,
They took a liberty just to purchase it themselves?
as far as I'm aware, yes, sir.
Mr. Hockey, on here, without mentioning names, their signatures who purchased the vehicle, are the signatures legal as far as the person who purchased them? I mean, like on the title app and purchase orders, is that person authorized? Because I noticed it's not Ms. Turner's signature.
Correct, and I did look into that, and my guidance on there is if you look at, I believe it's the 4th page of the packet, it's called the contract pricing worksheet. On February 24th, Ms. Turner did sign off on the contract price of the vehicle where it listed for the $45,154. Now that was almost, I believe, 3 months before the vehicle was actually purchased, but it does appear that the authority was given by the city manager to sign off on that price, and so the city staff that did eventually sign off.
On which form was it?
It's the 4th page, it looks,
It's the quote.
or is it the 3rd? It's the,
I'm sorry, it is the form. I know, but that's not that's a pricing worksheet, so that's not a binding.
correct, and we have that, it's not a binding legal document. It's
Well,
very
there's a
bad
purchase
policy.
order.
Because that's a date prepared, that's what it says.
Correct.
But there's a purchase order there with one of our staff member signatures also.
Correct, and those are not signed by the city manager.
I mean, even when you buy a vehicle, I speak firsthand, I mean, these are any forms that we haven't signed legally, for payment, even if it is a cash deal.
Correct.
I mean, it's still, someone should have provided, a business card stating their position within the city, and whether they're authorized to sign it or not, so you don't get into legal trouble.
And I fully concur. Anything of this price, it's always been legal's contention that only 2 individuals could sign on documents, on purchases of this nature. One would be the mayor following approval by city council, and the other would be the city manager.
So we have 2 issues here, the amount and then also the signatures approving this transaction.
Correct, sir.
So how do you suggest we move forward?
At this time, we've already purchased the vehicle. To go back and to try to undo the transaction would probably result in more costs than it's worth on litigation. So the city has the truck. Now, assignment of that truck and what it can be used for and things of that nature, it would be nice if we could put it to where the 4x4 nature of the truck and the towing package that are on there could actually be used. The issue that we've got is that then the code compliance fees would have to be reimbursed by the general fund, because looking at this matter, because we're bound by law on what those fees could be used for, it either has to be used for code compliance or it has to be reimbursed by the general fund to use somewhere else. So that's about the only legal guidance I can give at this time on it.
Now, have we taken delivery of the truck?
Yes, sir.
It's here?
Yes, sir. It's not here now because it's getting the decals, but it is, the city's truck is 3 weeks?
About 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks. It's been here.
Mr. Vasquez, were you aware of the purchase?
Was I aware of the purchase? No, sir.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
did, were you approached by, city administration concerning this vehicle?
No,
That-
no, and I'll say I signed the check, so did Mrs. Turner, because you have to pay the bills, and the truck was already here by the time I signed the check.
Correct. The payment didn't go out until after the contract was signed and the vehicle was delivered.
But here I see that
Here's a copy of the check.
Yes,
development, the community development, they they went into a contract, right?
Correct, and that's part of what I was discussing. For purchases of this amount and of this nature, it really should be one of the two authorizing the,
The mayor.
or with approval of city council as amended.
What can we do going forward so that we are advised of these amounts that have not been approved by the council that are over $25,000?
That is for the council to discuss, because we do have a council directive that says anything over $25,000 needs to be brought to the city council.
I just think that this is just getting out of line. You know, they're taking it upon themselves, you know, to do whatever they want. And they already know. I mean, if somebody takes a check to the comptroller to sign it, you know, somebody has to snap it. This is 45,000. I mean, you know.
Yeah, and I remember the conversation we had when we were discussing eight-liners was strictly to use those funds to pay for an individual to be able to enforce these codes at the eight-liners. It was never talked about buying this individual a vehicle. That was never discussed on the fee schedule. Am I correct? We talked about, you know, using those funds to actually hire someone to be able to, you know, be able to enforce the code compliance, you know, at these eight-liner
There was no specifics.
Yeah, there was never, I mean, I understand you could use it for a vehicle, but, I mean, it clearly states you can use it for salary, so I don't, what was the exact amount that we got, you know?
62 and change, I believe.
So we spent 45,000 on a vehicle, and that leaves us 17,000 to pay the individual.
Correct.
Do we, well, we don't know anything about salaries or anything like that about the individual who's transferred over here from the police department, so
Correct.
that's something that we ought to follow up on.
And the package that we bought, is that normally what a code compliance officer would use?
I've never been a code compliance officer, so I couldn't say, but in my layman's opinion, it's city streets and things, you probably don't need a 4x4 and towing package for code compliance.
So if we would want to give it to somebody else, how much would we have to pay back?
I believe it all came out of that fund. We'd have to talk to the controller or the city manager, but it would have to be the 45,000.
I mean, put it to use where somebody else can really use it.
Correct.
Like the police department.
Correct.
All done.
And then we'd have to do a
Construction.
budget amendment to cover the code compliance officer's salary with the eight-liner fee money, and then transfer general funds that would have gone towards salary towards the vehicle.
So we could take funds from the police department, and then, you know, we shift this vehicle to them, and they can use forfeiture money to pay for this?
If they have that amount of forfeiture money, I'm not certain how much they have left in their account. Again, we need the controller for the budgeting. Or I believe at the 23rd meeting, the financials will be on there so they can see.
But it could still be done under the new budget, right?
Correct.
I mean, it doesn't have to be done under the old budget.
No, it could be done under, when we do the new budgeting cycle.
Yeah.
By chance, do you know what was added to the vehicle, I mean, with decals, I mean, because the truck itself is 43,000, but we paid 45,000, we didn't pay any taxes.
Do I know what the decal amount is? I don't know.
And
Again, I'm not
was the
aware.
dealership, was that all included in the 45,000, the decal amount, do you know?
I'm not aware of that.
No? So we paid the decal separate?
Yes.
Weston's is doing the decals.
The decals are separate, the cop sync was separate.
And it comes with a state headlight.
Overall, I think
That's
it goes
separate.
over.
No, it's on
Yeah,
top.
but
It's
but what,
it's
why,
included.
Oh, it's included in the package.
why do we need all the decals and stuff for code compliance? Is it necessary?
It's the city of Floresville.
Generally, it's to identify as a code compliance vehicle. So yes, any city of Floresville vehicle does have the decals. Those don't run, that's not a large part of this expense at all.
But the bottom line, Mr. Hug, is we purchased the vehicle for 45,000 that was not authorized, which is beyond the $25,000 bind limit of the city manager. But on top of that, even the $25,000 was not authorized.
Correct. The 25,000, it didn't come in at $24,999. She could have written the check for that without coming before the city council. But once it reaches that 25,000, luckily on here, because it was purchased through what we call a buy board, which is authorized by the state of Texas, we don't run into any bidding requirements. Because with the vehicle being 45, and then with cop sync being probably another 3,000, and the cost of the decals, if it crosses 50,000, usually we have to go out for bids per state law. But since this was through a buy board, we're exempted from the bids, so we get lucky there. But the issue of the internal management still remains.
It's just weird because this truck, you look in the newspaper, you get on anybody's website, it's a $43,000 truck, you go to any Chevy dealer's website, and they're probably advertising this truck for $35,000, $36,000. That's why I'm wondering what we added to get the $45,000.
I don't believe we added anything. I think because it was a.
Not only was it unauthorized, it was a bad deal.
Yes, it was, because it was being purchased by a government entity, it seems like there were no incentives offered. It was the max
Yeah.
price.
Which, I mean, you may be exempt from incentives, but still, I mean, yeah, it's a pretty bad deal all the way around.
Correct.
Plus, I thought I saw around here that we paid $1,000, $1,195 for it to be shipped over here. It's a destination charge.
Yeah, the destination.
What it is? No, that's on every sticker though. That's on any vehicle you buy. It's on-
That's from the manufacturing plant, I
Yeah,
believe.
that's what I meant. Yeah, that's.
So what's the follow-up on this, Mr. Hug? What is the CNA going forward?
The CNA would be to address the matter in the manner that the council feels best, or a council member that wants to sponsor the item feels best with the city manager. That would be as we've talked about, we've already got a contract, we've already paid it, we've already got the truck. So going back now would be difficult. So it's moving forward, how to prevent this from happening again. And from a legal perspective, we've already put the directive in place, so now it's up to the council to look at how to enforce it.
Before I forget, on the back part of this agenda item, there's for Chevy Tahoe. Is that something separate? What is that?
That is the police chief's Tahoe, and I believe it was purchased at roughly the same time, and that came in at $34,000, yes, sir. So it's similar. The budget did authorize the purchase of a police vehicle from last year, so when that was adopted, it was part of the budget, but again, the specific purchase was not possible.
Mr. Hug, is this an item that we can continue to discuss in the executive session?
Not on this, because it's not litigation or potential litigation, unless we start going down that road, but it would be proper if we wanted to do it at a future personnel executive session, but under the litigation one, I can't say that we can discuss it at this time.
So if y'all have any more questions, ask them now.
Is this the first
Or
time
bring it
that,
back.
is this the first time that this happens, that they don't ask permission?
It's the first time that something this big has happened, to my recollection. Because the directive on the 25,000 only went into place.
I mean, just a few months ago, we had that issue over by the high school. I mean, we didn't want to write a check for someone that we had sewer problems.
Sewer
For
problems.
13,000, but yet we write a check for 45 without asking anybody.
Correct. We had to have two special meetings on the 13,000.
Yeah, we had special meetings there, and then we won't have a meeting over 45,000.
I would like to sponsor this at a later date for consideration and action and possible.
In review of the circuit. Well, I think Maya, if you make a note for the next agenda.
If that's the only one, well, then we'll do a special meeting.
Mr. Hug, we seem to have a question from the audience. Is that for this?
It's not a CNA item, so there's no charter minute, but it's up to you as presiding officer what to allow.
Mr. Robles?
Yes, ma'am. My
Step
question
please.
is, I'm Tomas Lopez. My question is, we need to start taking action on people doing this.
I'm sorry, repeat
We need to
that?
start taking action on people doing this. The reason I say this is because, I think that we can cut down on expenses as far as like when you go and buy a car like this versus lease. The car, you can always retain a new car, and once this car turns old, it's not worth $45,000. You know what I'm saying? So why can't they just look into leasing some, because they're not gonna put over 12,000 miles a year. I'm sure they're not gonna put, and they do, they go on trips, But what I'm saying is that these are things that we need to take into consideration to save the city some money, and also, the car, I'm sure the code compliance is gonna keep on going and going and going. It's not like he's gonna take the car once it breaks down. And I think that lease to own for every 3 years, switch them over. And I think, I mean, it's just my idea, I mean, the way I look at things.
Okay, thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Lopez. Anything else, council, on this item? We'll just follow up with the CNA.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Ortiz, you're gonna sponsor it?
Correct.
All right,
Thank you,
thank you.
Madam Mayor.
All right, next item. Thank you, Mr. Cook. Budget workshop schedule, the dates and the times. Would everyone turn to item 2C? Anyone care to comment on those that are offered?
These are just some ideas that the city manager has put down on days. You know, when you have council meeting on Thursdays, it'll be one other day, and then on the weeks you don't have council, we're gonna try to do two. So the Monday or Wednesday or Tuesday and Thursday or whatever you decide is what we're trying to get a calendar. That way next council meeting, we can have a calendar for you with the meetings.
First of all, they all start at 6:30. Can everyone attend at 6:30 or earlier? 6:30 is fine? Okay. So we just have to decide,
Wednesdays and Thursdays,
Wednesdays and Thursdays?
back to back, so that we get out of the way.
Get it over with, you mean?
Yeah, well, plus it's fresh on your mind, you know,
But,
2 consecutive days.
But it's gonna be two and one.
It's all up to
well,
us.
and then Councilman Jimenez, the way the city manager has done the budget workshops is at every meeting, there's a separate subject. It's not like, you know, most of the time, right, last year, we weren't discussing the same thing more than
We
one
won't.
day, unless it was necessary that we needed to come back for
But,
another day.
It's up to the council to make that call, and not the manager.
Okay.
That's what I think is getting off course.
As far as, what's talked about in the budget, in the workshops?
And the dates.
And the authority.
Yeah, you all decide, council, that's what the city manager's requesting.
I think Wednesdays and Thursdays is good.
That's fine with me, Wednesdays and Thursdays.
It's good with
Wednesdays
me.
and Thursdays?
It's good with me.
Okay.
That's fine.
Except not on council meeting nights.
Correct.
Okay,
Okay. I'm
Wednesday,
gonna circle that one and I'll give that back to her.
okay. Very good. So, next item D, city event updates. And we have a marketing and communication specialist.
Oh, Tony, I have for you, you wanna play it?
Okay, in just a minute, we'll do that. Madam Mayor, City Council, thank you for giving me a few minutes. I'm here to give you just updates on what we have going on in the foreseeable future, and most directly, our July 3rd Family Fun and Freedom Festival. For the council, the newer council members, let me just give you a quick update on where we're here right now. Is in the last budget session, $50,000 was given to the 4A to do fundraising. And so we're using that funds to put on some of these events. And so it's a 4A event coming up on Sunday, July 3rd. Sunday, July 3rd, we've received a lot of sponsorships. It's now called the FEDC Family Fun and Freedom Festival, presented by Richardson Brothers Chevrolet and Polaris, City of Floresville, and the Floresville 4A. That's the long title. We sold different sponsorships to get those names in there. The event's Sunday, July 3rd. The gates will open at 1:30 with the opening ceremonies at 2 p.m. Parking is free. The event is at the event center, inside and outside. Entry is free for patrons 12 and under. $5 pre-sale tickets, $10 at the gate. And tickets are on sale right now at Richardson Brothers Chevrolet, the Lavernia News, Wilson County News, Smith Gas, Circle G Restaurant and Poe, here at City Hall, and at the Event Center. Some of the marketing that we're doing for the event is we have ads in the Wilson County News and the Lavernia News, in-kind radio spots with KEDA Radio. Glazier Distributing, who's our beer sponsor, is taking care of large ads in the Current magazine in San Antonio. They're also paying for radio on KG97.
Thank you.
Paying for radio on KG97, and they're doing in-store promotions at the HEB locally, Pleasanton, and on the south side of San Antonio, starting 2 weeks before the event. in their beverage section, they're gonna have posters saying Floresville's Family Fun events, and just marketing the event for us there, at the stores at HEB. Also, with our marketing, as of right now, we have about 425 posters out, and those posters are in pretty much every city in our 45-mile radius. We also have a billboard with our marketing plan with the city. For the annual year, we purchased the billboard to do marketing for different types of events and different types of just come visit Floresville, different messages that we're gonna have going on throughout the next year. And so that billboard is on Highway 37 going south about 100 yards right past military on the left-hand side. And so that is marketing the event and the Floresville as well as hotels. Because that is paid out of the hotel motel tax, so that has to have the hotel marketing on it. Also, we have doing a lot of social media to stir up interest. TV spots that we're using out of some of our annual buy on TV. And those TV spots will start 10 days before the event. Because usually on a 4th of July event, people aren't making plans 4 weeks out. If they are, that's when they're making that plan to take the vacation somewhere. Usually when people are trying to figure out something more regionally, it's that week of the event. We're still raising awareness on volunteers. We're having some good vibes out there. A lot of people calling. This week alone, I've had 4 different people call with needing a little bit more information, but they had booked hotels already, so that was good. 3 of them were at the Holiday Express and 1 at La Quinta. Some of the event highlights is we have the Phelps Kids Zone, the Wells Fargo opening ceremonies, which will be held indoors. You will all get some information in the next week in your packets. Henrietta will give you some information on what's going on and if we can get some of you involved in some of those ceremonies. We're going to have a patriotic tribute by the County Line Band. The Wells Fargo outdoor stage is going to include traditional country music, Texas country music, Tejano, the #1 blues band in San Antonio called Reuben V, and a local variety band called Cinco. We're going to also have a Barrett & Sons Cool Down Zone because it's July. It'll be a little cold, hot outside, so they're going to be putting called porta cools in a certain area that people can come sit down and just relax and cool off about 15 to 20 degrees than what the regular weather is showing. Inside the ballroom, we'll have all types of vendors, craft vendors. We're going to have our Lifeline that's going to be coming out and getting a lot of exposure with all the people in the community from all over the area. We'll have some classic cars out there for people to come check out different cars. We have some contests. We have the Floresville Dental Watermelon Eating Contest, and I'll be reaching out to see if any of y'all would like to be involved in that. I know we're inviting some other, since it is a community event, when I say community, Livonia to Carson City and everywhere else, we're going to be reaching out to other people, other elected officials, see if they want to be involved in it too. We'll have the kids rounds, the adult rounds, and the elected official round. But we'll also be having a raffle. And then to end out the night is the San Antonio River Authority Fireworks Spectacular. So a lot of stuff's going good with that event. We're getting a lot of people talking. People are coming into the office here to buy tickets. And people generally are just saying, we're glad that we're having something back. If we haven't had something in 5 years, and it's Independence Day. It's the one day of the year that everybody should be able to come out to and celebrate. It's not a Hispanic event. It's not an Anglo event. This is a United States event, and that's all of us living here. So I'm really expecting a very large crowd. Let me really quickly go over a couple of just things to put on your agendas. Other events that we have coming up, and this is not all of them, but this is just some of them highlighting, is September 4th, the Floresville 4A is presenting Noche Tejano, the Labor Day celebration featuring Ruben Ramos, David Farias, the Hometown Boys, and Danny Acosta and Kubo Band. That will be held inside the event center. Tickets go on sale for that event July 6th. 95%. We're trying something new. For those of you that remember the extravaganza, we did a lot of the ticket sales out of our office and things like that. We're trying, 95% of the tickets will be on sale online. It's taken a lot of work to get that lined up, but it will be an online ticket. And we'll see how that goes, to see if that alleviates some of the pressure on city staff pushing those tickets. December 10th is this, we still have that date down for our holiday extravaganza. We've talked about it several times with council. We're looking to get a little bit more input from you as council and people, members of the community. And then we are working on securing some other dates for events for next year. One of them would be a beer, wine, and food festival featuring food from the entire region, beer and wine sampling. Also a barbecue cook-off and rodeo. We've been getting a lot of people asking, why don't we do this? Can we, keep different demographics from our community asking for different things, and we're looking to try to accommodate them, and as long as they are feasible monetarily and that we can make money, we look to help better the situation out there with our bills. That's what we want to do. But we're also working on, Lions Club has a Texas convention that me and Mr. Gleason are working on trying to secure that particular convention for next year. There is what's called a pickleball, if you're familiar with pickleball. They have a tournament every year. They have many tournaments, but they have one in San Antonio that the location's unavailable for next year. And so we are talking to them. I'm trying to see how can we lure those 250 adults to come over here and taking part at our event center and use some of our hotels. So we are reaching out to them to see how we can make that happen. And noticing that we do need to do special events to make more money, but at the same time, we need to try to get more business here in other facets, and that small conventions, big conventions, whatever. I know we have the Final Four coming in 2 years, and all the hotels will be booked in San Antonio, so naturally we'll have a space over here for them. So we're working, but we do need input, advice from everybody here to help us get there.
Council, any questions?
Yeah, on these events, are you gonna be having food booths or rentals or anything happening?
Yes, sir. On the July 3rd event, we're gonna have food booths, we're gonna have beer booths, soda, water.
How much you're gonna charge per booth or whatever?
I can provide it to you. All of our food, we have one booth left, and that is the roasted corn booth. All the other booths sold out. They've been on sale for about 8 weeks now, 9 weeks, and they sold out pretty much in the first week.
How many booths do you have?
We're gonna have 11.
11?
11, and when I say it's 11, some sort of substance, we're gonna have, for heavy foods, it's gonna be about 6. And when I talk heavy foods, the gorditas, the fajitas, mini tacos, hamburgers. But then some of the other booths would be like the roasted corn, but like the Lions Club, we reached out to some of those nonprofits. They're gonna be doing cotton candy and popcorn. Then we have some people doing different sweets, pickles, things like that.
And I noticed that you mentioned like 1 or 2 different places where you were gonna be selling tickets. Did you offer them to all the restaurants around here?
We did not offer them to all the restaurants because
Is there a reason why?
at the same time as we didn't want to have so many locations with all these tickets out everywhere. We're trying to.
Well, you should reserve maybe 100 each or something. They sell them, it's fine. If they didn't, well, it's still fine.
Yeah,
You know, so
I
that
mean,
way-
and thank you for the advice, because this is the first time we're doing this one. And this is
Just a little bit of input, because
Oh, yeah.
if you're leaving some of the restaurants out and having some that you did ask, well, sometimes people get offended and
Yeah.
stuff. You want to keep everybody normal for everything and get the whole community involved and the surrounding areas and statewide. If you're gonna have something big like this, hey,
Yeah.
come out with a bang.
And then we could always try to market more. We could always market more. We advertised it that we had that we were gonna have this event. Anybody interested in selling tickets, we did put that out there. The same way we put out if anybody was interested in food booths, or if anybody was interested in being a vendor. We probably put that out for about 4 weeks before anything got going. I'm an office of one in regards to this event. I'm the only one working on this event. And it's a major event, so there's a lot of different aspects in there. And it's a learning process every time, but yeah, it would, usually you could get a committee of 5 or 6 that can help you. You can handle
You
sponsorship.
should be able to go full blast on it. This is the only one that you got going.
Yeah, you know what? I am going full blast, but there's just a lot of aspects to it. But I welcome anybody here that would like to come volunteer and help us. We do need volunteers. I hope I see the council there at the event. We have other people within the community that are volunteering. but I would love to see you there in any aspect.
Just like we have free parking, and I don't think we've ever charged for parking, but can you get a sponsor to provide free water?
I already have Walmart. Walmart's an in-kind sponsor. They've given us 2 pallets of water, which is an awful lot of water. And they've donated some tents to us, some watermelons, things that we need for the event. We're trying, our original goal on this was to try to get, and you never know, you have to measure out what the community's doing, but it was to get $10,000 in sponsorship. Right now, we're at $21,000. We've been getting some great response from our community. And I truly believe that the response is because it's an all-inclusive family event. Sometimes they're not willing to write those checks, but right now, they are, and we're building new relationships. Richardson Brothers, they came and told me, "You're the first person that's ever come to talk to me." I said, "Well, great, I'm gonna talk to you all the time now." And so it's engaging. We have to engage people and get out there, and that's what I'm doing.
HEB's always willing to sponsor.
Absolutely, HEB came in with $1,500. And just to let you know, Walmart corporate didn't want to come in. They touted some of our local things that they thought we had issues. Local Walmart, the local manager said, "I'll come in with product. Is that going to help you?" I said, "Anything will help us." And so it's been good. I mean, the community response has been good. I suspect, though, at a $5 pre-sale ticket, that this week right before the event, every outlet's going to be very busy because everybody's talking about, oh, a $5 ticket. That's very reasonable. The artists that we have coming, you can't see them anywhere else for $5.
Well, one of the things that we spoke about earlier is that you need to put it statewide, not just around the surrounding areas, in whichever way, either through the internet or find out certain things. Different venues, people will travel, and the more people that we get in a hotel, motel tax, you gotta look at the big picture.
You know what I'd
Once
love?
they find out that we have a beautiful event center, maybe it might be able to.
What I'd love to do, based on having to spread our budget around, is yes, this first year, get the feet wet, but I think we're gonna be very successful. But I think our events, hopefully like this one, can turn into 2-day events. That's how we do the marketing to get people to come visit for a weekend, not just for a day. When you have a 2-day event, they'll stay at a hotel. But we have to get our feet wet. I didn't want to go put up $75,000 on the first time and not sure if people are gonna come or not on a 2-day event. I wanna grow there, but definitely.
But if they're sponsoring and it's not your money, hey, just go with it.
The events, yeah, absolutely, but
I mean, it's-
to double your days, our expenses on this event is
If he
$36,000.
has members on his board like Myron Moronis, he doesn't really have that character.
I was gonna ask you.
But absolutely, I mean, our total goal is to raise funds, get more people out here into our hotels, and get people spending money in our businesses. And so, point taken, Councilman Jimenez, and absolutely.
What do you have planned for December, Tony?
December, we've talked about this several times prior to our new council members, is
Because by the time you come
this
back-
year, I feel, I've talked about having all-inclusive events and not always just having a Tejano event or a country event. That particular event historically has been a Hispanic-driven event. This last year we did it, and if we want to continue to do it for this next year, I still think it needs to be a Hispanic-driven event. And the reason why is the marketing for it. For me to change it to a country event or something else, I would have to invest double the amount of money to remarket the event to a broader audience. I firmly believe that we should put on other events that I don't think anybody should say, oh, they only do Hispanic events. Absolutely not.
You could do it January.
I could do another event. I could do a Texas country event. I could do a classic rock event, and I want to make sure that everybody in our community is being taken care of. But I think that particular event, though, has been historically a Hispanic-based event, and to change it would cost me too much money to change that particular event.
Excuse me. I was gonna ask you, going back to the July 3rd,
Yes, ma'am.
the vendors, like the arts and craft, who do you contact for that?
What I did first and foremost on the vendors is I went to our city permitting department, because usually when you have an event, most of the festivals, Peanut Festival, Balloon Fest, anything like that, they have to buy a peddler's permit. And so I said, hey, can you give me anybody that's bought a peddler's permit in the last 5 years? Because I want to send them an email. So that's how I first approached it. I reached out again to some of the other events in the area and said, do you have a list of anybody in the area that does vending. And so I send out email solicitations, make phone calls, with a lot of our social media that branched out into San Antonio and other cities, so people just started calling. Right now, I have 17 vendors, which is okay. I want to have 30. But the way I'm gonna get those is like this weekend, the Stockdale Jubilee's going on, I'll be there. I'll be there promoting our event with our flyers, and they're visiting with their vendors, seeing if anybody would like to come out. I went to, we had the car show with the Lions Club, went out there and visited, got a couple of vendors there. But a lot of it's block walking. I've been walking up and down, putting posters up and meeting every single business person in this community, from urgent cares to the new state farm we have down here, just meeting people, and that's how we've been getting more people interested, saying they either want to get a booth, or hey, where can we get the tickets, that kind of thing. And so there's a lot of legwork that needs to be done. That's why I have to do a lot of.
Have you gotten with the Peanut Festival?
Oh, absolutely. I work with them all the time.
They get a lot of booths coming in and stuff. Do you have the type of crowd that you're thinking you're gonna get?
Yeah, I work with them a lot because the tourism advisory board that we work on, I'm helping them. We're sharing a lot of thoughts and contacts.
Also, on the, when you say $5 at the gate, where, is there gonna be a gate? Are they gonna put a gate?
This is a ticketed event. There'll be $5 pre-sale tickets, $10 at the gate. So if you do not buy a pre-sale ticket that's available up to Friday, okay, and you show up at the gate, just like any other event that goes on anywhere in Texas, it's a higher price ticket. The event center is going to be fenced in, portions of it, the part of the grounds that is going to be used for the event will be fenced in. And so there'll be a front gate for people to come in. There'll be all different sections in the event. So yes, there's a front gate, there's an exit gate behind us. The fireworks are going to be held in the rodeo ring behind the facility. I'll provide you, I'll get that to Henrietta, just an updated map. We're having a complete key volunteer, key staff meeting next Tuesday at the event center. If you would like to come, I can make sure you get the time. It's at 10:30 at the event center next Tuesday. We're going to do a walkthrough with all the people from PD to EMS, sound companies, everything, just going over the whole logistics. And we'll be doing that again in 2 more weeks again on the 28th. This is not the first time I met with the key people. I've met with them individually just to go over security and things like that.
Are you addressing traffic so we don't have a balloon
Absolutely.
festival here again?
Chief, we started meeting on traffic about 6 weeks ago. Chief and myself, Henrietta put in some of her comments. We've reached out to the Highway Department, we've reached out to DPS and the Sheriff's Department. Highway 97 is going to be a no parking zone. There's going to be a no tailgating zone. We are utilizing 75 signs that have been donated to us by Riverbend Country Club that they use for the Balloon Fest. We're going to be using those and putting them up and down Highway 97. Because historically in the past, 5 years ago, it was chaotic traffic jam from what I've been told by police and other people within the community. Doesn't mean it's going to be 100%, but
I mean, if you're limited in parking or whatever, one of the things that we could look at, having parking at the city park.
absolutely.
And I don't know if there's an entrance going to and from that, if not, maybe put a gate.
Good point, good point. There's a gate by the pool that we're gonna have open. What we're gonna do is, we're probably gonna have the city parking lot barricaded off. It's closed. All events there are closed for the weekend. They've been notified a long time ago. Close it so people go and park. We have about 3,000 parking spaces on the event grounds that day, on the Lado G. De Leon event grounds. We're using the front grass, the main parking lot, the side parking lot, the side fields. We've been cutting back the fields for the last 3 weeks with great help from all of our crew. But we're going to be utilizing that field in the back, all the way up to the big oak tree in the back field. This will all be parking. And so we'll be able to, we're going to try to fill that first parking lot and then go to the next area. We're providing, infrastructures, stuff we have to set up, lighting, things like that, to make sure people feel secure and that their cars are safe, things like that. We'll have bike control out there as well as just regular police officers on foot. We'll actually have a police officer on top of the roof of the center that can have a better vantage point above the entire property, making sure things are going cool. The fire department will be there because we're going to have fireworks, and we want to make sure that everything's safe. And so we're trying to just dot our i's, cross the t's, and getting information from people like you. And at our meeting next week too, is just trying to make sure that we're safe and secure, and it's gonna be a fun family event.
You said next Tuesday.
Yes,
Are you
ma'am.
talking about this coming?
This coming Tuesday? Yes, ma'am. At 10:30,
At what day was it? I mean-
Tuesday, that would be,
The 14th.
the 14th, June 14th, and again on the 28th. This first one's probably gonna be about an hour, hour and a half, because it'll be the first time I have everybody together, and I wanna do a complete walkthrough of the event, so they can see, this is how it's gonna be, this is where the fencing's gonna go, things like that. And it's not for me being a dictator, it's me telling them this is based on my experience, and now I get to hear all y'all's feedback. Hey, Tony, this might work better. Great, let's do it. It's making sure that I have input from other people.
And how's electrical there? You have 2-phase and 3-phase?
Well, the good thing, we don't have very good electrical at the facility, the building, but we're utilizing generators, so we're golden on that. I'm using 4 generators at I think a very good price from 6 and Mango down on 181. I'm getting 4 generators, one that's gonna be handling sound, the other 3 they're gonna be handling food booths, and those anybody that needs an outlet, they're gonna be coming with spiders, so we'll be able to, each generator.
Have you checked to see what the cost is to bring like 2-phase or 3-phase, whatever the music is?
Yeah,
Versus the rental?
I enlisted Phelps to come out to give us some advice too. We dealt with another electrical company, and because of the way our building is, they just said, I wouldn't even touch anything with your building right now for what you need. We have some electrical issues inside the building that, because when it was created, a lot of things were put on. For one area has 14 plugs, but they're all on one circuit. Things like that, and to redo that, I'm getting quotes on that to get that fixed, but it's at a price tag that I don't want to touch right now. The amount that we're getting all the generators from and the temporary lighting for some of the areas of the darker areas in the field is $800.
But that's one of the things, if you're gonna be marketing big bands and everything else, you gotta have sufficient power and juice.
Yeah, I mean, we have sufficient power for any band inside the facility on the stage, more than enough power there.